Take me out to California. Take me out to California.
Hi everyone, so this week I was doing a talk at the FSB Business Bootcamp, and the talk that I was doing was all about self-care, and I will be sharing some of these tips with you guys as well. But because of talking about self-care, this week I've really practiced what I preach. No matter what you do, there are always going to be times when you overwork or you don't get the balance right. And last month, I think for me, was such a busy month. It was just genuinely busy. I didn't have a lot of space in between. And although I really do practice self-care, there are times, like anybody, when putting me first comes a little bit down the line, especially when you're a parent. I think that it's easy to constantly have to do things for other people and not really prioritize your own importance. And so yeah, the last week I've really been focusing on that a lot more. I've gone to bed earlier, which those of you who've heard me speak before will know that I'm a night owl. I'm a person who does go to bed really quite late. I'm a forced lock, so I have to get up early because of the kids, but I would naturally probably wake about 8 o'clock. So obviously I have to get up earlier. But the last week I've been really focusing on my sleep and the importance of that sleep, and also taking naps where I can, just short naps wherever I've needed it. I've focused a lot more on meditation. And so yes, this week I've really been trying to implement some self-care, and alongside that I was offered a facial for free, which is always nice. This is a gifted thing. I have to always declare that. The lady that's doing the facial for me did my eyebrows for me as well. I actually paid for them the first time I got them done, so they're microbladed. The second time she did do them for free for me, and I talked about it on my Instagram. Again, I hashtagged gifted. I didn't pay for it. But yeah, so it's the same lady. She's fantastic, lady called Santa, and I will put her details below this video as well, so I'll take you with me to do the facial. And I'm also going to be sharing some self-care tips with you along the way, the importance of self-care and what that really means. What does self-care mean? We'll talk about that today. I am quite tired this morning. I've just done the school run, so it makes you tired, doesn't it? Somehow it's pandemonium. And also this morning, Texas last night, she blacked her eye on a little sign, so she's got a whopping big bruise on her eye, and it's a big deal. It's a big deal in the school playground. A lot of people talking about it, a lot of buzz about the eye. So that's just happened. So yeah, so I'm not quite awake yet. I will be once I've had a proper cup of tea and a drink and some breakfast. So before I head into my facial, I thought I'd talk to you a little further about self-care and the importance of self-care. So I think that self-care, the phrase, has become a bit of a hollow buzzword for pampering, which is kind of ironic because that's what I'm doing today. But it's not the only thing that self-care is. Self-care is anything where you do something good for your emotional, your physical, your mental well-being. So whatever that is, whatever it is that you need, that means prioritizing you over everything else. And some of us get conditioned to believe that this is somehow selfish, that taking care of ourselves, putting us first is selfish, that it's not the correct way to be. But I know that if you follow this channel, and most people in general, but you are largely givers, people who care about other people, help our people, and sometimes even people pleasers, which is where you slip into doing too much. You get the balance wrong of doing too much for other people and not enough for yourself. Self-care can also be about boundaries, about creating boundaries for yourself, about creating your no list, your list of non-negotiables, the things that you will and you won't do. And many of us push past those boundaries because we've never really even considered what they are. So I want you to think about this today. What is it that is important to you, and what will you and won't you accept? And you have to know what your values are to really know that, I think. So you have to know what's the important things to you in your life. What do you put above everything else? So for me, for example, in my working life, it has always been about working around the children. How can I work around the children? How can I make sure I'm there for school pickups and drop-offs and school plays and competitions and all that kind of thing? If I can do that, then I feel that's important for me in my rule book, that I want to be a good mom. I also want to be successful in my life. I want to be the captain of my own ship. I want to never work for anybody else as such. I want to always be in control of my own work. I really value bravery and authenticity. They're really important to me. Creativity is really high on my values list. So we have this list of our values, and then what we need to do is to create our rules around these values. So in order to have these things in my life, in order for these values to be relevant to my life, what do I need to do to make sure that happens? So for me, in terms of work, it would be considering whether I take something on or I don't. Can that fit around the school run? Can I do this when the kids are at school? Can I do this when the kids go to bed? These are important rules for me, and you will have your own version of whatever this means to you. And also creating rules for yourself. So when are you on social media? When do you go on your phone? When do you stop working your business? When do you see your friends? When, what do you need to make you feel a full, whole person that's energized and feels good? Self-care is also about going back to basics, and I've talked about this on a previous video. When you're feeling stressed out, you need to get back to basics. Eat well, drink well, sleep well, move your body. Your body is meant to move, it's not meant to be sedentary. And all of these things are part of self-care. All of these things, getting out into nature, breathing fresh green air, touching a tree. I don't care how hippie-ish that makes me sound. Go and touch a tree and you will feel better in yourself. And also, one of the things I was talking about this week when I was at the boot camp was about finding a hobby. And I'll talk about this a little bit further. I think I'll do a separate video on this because it was probably one of the points that people remembered the most. Boundaries we'll discuss further. We will discuss boundaries further. We'll also discuss finding something outside of your work and life that's just for you as well. I think that's a really important topic. So I'll do separate videos on those. But all of these things are aspects of self-care that perhaps you didn't think. When you think of self-care, you do think of pampering and baths and facials like I'm getting today. But it's so much more than that. It's putting you first. And I do worry that so many people don't do that. So my thing for you today is to really consider, what can you do for you? Unapologetically, unashamedly, what can you do for you? And now I definitely need to put the camera down and go in for my facial. So what is this facial called?
It's called Pro Facial. It has 6 different steps.
Okay.
So the first 3 steps is alpha hydroxy acid, second step is beta hydroxy acid, and then the third step is for hydration.
Okay.
And then we go to the lux part where we use radio frequency, ultrasound, and lifting.
Okay.
You, I know it's alright. You read my mind, but I can see that you don't realize, and that's what made me fall in love. 'Cause you got style, the way your body makes my heart beat sound. It's amazing all the time. You are the only thing I need in life. Oh, I want you. We do this every day, we do this love for life. You got a smile that makes the sun rise. You make it shine, but I can see that you don't realize, and that's what made me fall in love. 'Cause you got been driving around in my car, looking for some kind of open bar. It's gonna be alright, gonna be alright. Got no money, but I'll work it out with my charm. Having a good time, ain't doing no harm. It's gonna be alright, gonna be alright. Hey now, honey, I've been driving around in my car, looking for some kind of open bar. It's gonna be alright, gonna be alright. Got no money, but I'll work it out with my charm. Having a good time, ain't doing no harm. It's gonna be alright, gonna be alright. Having a good time, ain't doing no harm. It's gonna be alright, gonna be alright. Hey now, honey, I've been driving around in my car, looking for some kind of open bar. It's gonna be alright, gonna be alright. Got no money, but I'll work it out with my charm. Having a good time, ain't doing no harm. It's gonna be alright, gonna be alright.
This is what has come out of all the gunk that's come out of my skin. I mean, it's fairly rank, to be honest. So I look very shiny in this light. It actually looks really lovely in the actual daylight. This is making me look particularly shiny. But yeah, that was lovely. What a relaxing treatment, and just seeing all the crap come out my face. I don't know why, I kind of like that. Is that weird? So I feel like really thoroughly relaxed now. I'm going to go home and have lunch and a cup of tea, do a little bit of work, but just really enjoy my self-care time today.